Hello, milkers. Welcome to another episode of the Cumcast. This week's beer of the week is called PULPPATRIOT, and that is brewed with BLACKCURRANT, and that is brought to us by Brewdog USA Brewing of Cincinnati, Ohio. This is a double IPA milkshake beer with a 9.5 ABV, so please drink responsibly because it does not taste that strong. This beer is... I've been really into milkshake beers lately, and this definitely is a favorite. It's one of the better ones that I've had. It is very good. Go and get a whole line of the Brewdog milkshake IPAs, and just check out the Brewdog Brewery if you are in Cincinnati, Ohio, or around there. This is a wonderful beer. Please go and get it. It's tart, it's sweet, it's milky with a bit of lactose. You can't do any better than that. We hope you're enjoying this month's book of the month, The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. If you are not reading it, then good for you. You're not corrupted. Yeah, if you're not reading it, then you're still doing okay. But I recommend it if you're into some weird, culty, religious vibes. Also, we have a very special guest today. He is a up-and-coming, very talented tattoo artist. He has done work on me before in the past and hopefully in the near future. I've talked about him before on here. We are very, very happy to have him on. So please, all you milkers, put your hands together and help us welcome Terin JD. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cumcast. I am Ryan, as always, your host, and joining me is Cody here again. Hey, milkers, how's it going? Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you have had a wonderful weekend. We hope you all are staying safe out there, social distancing. The world is a crazy place out there, but thankfully we have a very special guest. Terin JD is in the house, a up-and-coming rising star in the tattoo game, my personal favorite tattoo artist. I don't have many tattoo artists, but definitely top three right there. Welcome, Terin. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Hey, what's up? Voice is a little shaky.
No, you're good, man. You're good. And you brought your dog, Prince.
Yeah, we ended up taking the ride together. He's teething right now, and he tries to bite little dogs, but then big dogs, he's very submissive. So we think that he's thinks he's a big dog.
Right. Yeah.
And so.
But I know usually little dogs who think they're big dogs will still mess with big dogs too. So. That's so weird. That's so weird that it's teething like a baby. That's crazy.
He's got little. You just see gums and little tiny points right now in his mouth.
Yeah. Is it like baby teeth where they hurt? They're super sharp and tiny?
He doesn't want. I was he is don't show anyone my teeth.
And he's not going to get much bigger than that, is he?
He's going to get 25 pounds.
Really? Yeah, he's a French bulldog, so they get it.
I know. I didn't
think
they got that big. He's going to be 10 more pounds.
Right.
But his head's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a little tiny bodybuilder.
Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier when we were talking that you take him to the dog park and he wants to go to the big dog side.
Yeah, he got beat up the other time though. It was just real? 2 other big dogs, and that was it. And so I let him go, and this one jumpy dog just was just terrorizing him. Was just flipping him over, and it was just jumping over him, and was just overwhelming him with energy. And so I ended up having to pick him up. And then the little jumpy dog was jumping where his face was in Prince's eye level. Right. It was just what's up? What's up? I'm right by your face. And so we went to the little dog park, and then a little dog, he tried to be bitey, what's up? I'm going to beat you up. And then the little dog just like growled and put Prince in his place. So we left.
That's like, dude, that's like fucking, it's like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, man. You got cliques everywhere.
It's a dog world.
You got bullies. The dog park is fucking ferocious, man.
He does better when there's more dogs, but he's just like, he's just trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah, he's still just a baby.
Right. He's trying to figure out that vibe, that dog vibe.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. So let's just start from the beginning, like your story. What made you want to get to art, tattooing? Did you start with one and then the other one progressed? How did that start out for you?
Well, I don't know. It's like, I have no clue how I'm doing any of the shit right now. It's like, I've worked with tattooers and I've liked tattoos for a while and I've been in some tattoo shops and stuff, but it's just like, what I do now is just so, let's see. It's like, all right, so there's getting into tattooing and then there's getting into business. And getting into business is so much harder than getting into tattooing. And so now it's like, I feel like I know more about how I got into like business than tattooing, because like there's been periods in my career where I felt like the tattoos just like look awesome and my career's just like tanking. And then there's periods where it's like, I have no clue what to think of the tattoos and my career's thriving. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, so my early career, I was just like, really just like, oh, I'm going to be so good at this. And now I'm just like, I don't even know if anyone's getting any of this, but like people will book it. But yeah, it's like I got into being like my own boss in tattooing and stuff in like 2000. I announced 2015, I think, or 16. Yeah, I announced 2016 because I remember the week after I announced Trump won president, and I was like, I don't know if there's ever going to be business again in my whole life.
Which honestly, I feel like, I know we just got a new president. I know Joe Biden is about to be in office now. And honestly, from that aspect till now, you've grown so much in the past 4 years too.
Yeah, but it's like, I remember being in Bloomington and the day after Election Day, the streets were empty. And like, I was not good with money. So I had no money. I put all my cash into starting this little tiny tattoo shop, and I didn't think that an election could affect business. But it was like, after you announce your business, having a presidential election like happen and be upsetting to people and polarizing, people are not thinking about tattoos.
Right.
So you're like, how long is this going to last? Like,
right.
Are people going to talk about this for a week, 2 weeks? Can I survive 3 weeks?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And so it was just like, I feel like when I got into business, I got started when it was like really fast and hard to figure out and everything's a blur. And I feel like I've gotten like, through the years, I've gotten like better at like identifying what the fuck you see in like the little fog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But starting a business is so much scarier than tattooing. Like, even when you're tattooing.
So just starting and running that business is just like, it's so much harder than like fucking up a tattoo.
Well, because like when you talk about just like tattooing from just like an artist level, you really just need to like focus on paying the rent of your apartment.
Right.
So you're just like, all right, like, we live in Indiana, so it's like, if you wanted to live in like a nice apartment, like $800 a month. So realistically, it's like, all right, well, if I make even like $500 a week tattoo and $600 a week tattoo, and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when you own a business, it's just like that money goes to the business.
Right.
And it's like everything goes to the business.
Right. And I feel like it will for a while until that business gets on its feet, and then you'll be able to do other things. You make enough income doing that business to where,
and then eventually
everything's
it'll grow.
covered. Yeah.
Eventually it'll grow.
But that's the darkness about business.
Yeah.
Eventually it dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
When you get in business, at first you just like I was doing all the worst stuff. I was watching Gary Vee videos.
Oh yeah.
I was getting fake confidence.
Right.
I was like, somebody wants me. I'm just going to like put my shit out. And it's like, I think I got more traumatized in my first 2 years in business than any relationship I ever was in. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just like when you wake up, brush your teeth to Gary Vee, and then you just like life smacks you in the face. You're like, oh shit. You're like, oh shit.
I like Gary Vee shit, but like I wouldn't follow any of that.
Nobody. But here's the thing: Gary Vee is Gary Vee.
Yeah,
like,
it worked for him and probably him only.
Right.
So
it's different. Yeah.
But it's like, but the funny thing is like after just like. I feel like I've probably started just like really understanding things more on like business and running things and everything since I started the new shop in the new location, because that location I had already had like 2 years experience as a business and figured out everything that was horrible about the business and like running it. But when I got the new location, my new thought was like I almost had to create like a mantra for like the shop to just like keep myself going. And the mantra was I'm going to let this die in a cool way. Because I was just like, there's nothing I can actually guarantee except this is going to die.
Right.
Because it's like I don't have money and like I don't have whatever. And so the goal was always to look back and be like, yeah, it like went out of business because I like did this thing, but the thing is like fucking cool. Like, cool to me.
Like you're going out cool.
Yeah. It was like, you know, it's like you realize that it's like, all right, you're probably not going to like survive what, like, you know, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're brand new, you're happy, right?
Yeah.
You're just running on the beach and you're just like, I can't die. But it's like, when you've already served like 2 tours, and you're going back, you know exactly what you're going in for, whatever.
Right.
And so my second attempt, instead of being like the soldier that just like is happy and accurate and everything, I started being like, I'm going to be the soldier that probably misses a lot and I stink and I'm sweaty and I don't look like a good soldier and I'm like scarred up, but I survive.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I get my little like kills. You know what I mean? Right. Like it would be like, I'm just going out to get like 3 kills. My shit might jam up. Like these socks are terrible. You know what I mean? But it was like the next time I was just like, and I'm just barely going to survive. Because when you have a business, your competition is like who you think you're supposed to be like. But it's like, I was so broke that it was like, I don't know how this is going to work. But yeah, I just was like, fuck it, let's do freehand. So I just started drawing every tattoo on.
You're like the 6th man on the basketball team. You're just like in a group of guys and you're just like, hey, what do you think of all these guys? And you're just like, oh, Terin? Yeah, man, he's cool. Like, totally. Like, and then everybody else is either this side or that side. You're just like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, but it's funny though. Like, here's how much I know that I don't know anything is like when I started trying to have a business that would fail, that's when I finally started getting business.
Right.
But it still doesn't make sense to me. It's like one of those riddle enigmas where you're just like, but I went into it ready to die.
Right.
And then you're like, why the fuck am I still here?
It's almost like you don't want to accept that it's going to be something fucking like awesome. It's going to last forever. It's like when you take a test, you're like, man, I failed, and you passed with flying colors. You're going into that because it's almost like you're accepting it ahead of time.
Yeah, I was like, I knew I was going to be homeless, shitty credit, and I had this goal where I pictured what I do at every level, and the low level was like, all right, I'm good with drawing with ballpoint pens, so I'd be good with Sharpies. I'm going to be outside of like ZNC, where it's like Chinese food, and I was like, and I'm going to draw on cardboard for $1 when I'm homeless. and I was like, and I'm gonna fucking make a name for myself. I was like, I'm going to be the motherfucker that like cardboard and Sharpies my way out of homelessness. So I was waiting for that.
It was like, what else do you have to lose, pretty much? You go in with low expectations.
Most people, when they start a business, set goals.
Yeah.
Terins setting his downfall.
That's what it is. He's like, if the shit doesn't work out, I'm going to be drawing on pizza boxes.
No, you just like, that's a good business motto. It's like, I'm going to start a business. We're going to fucking fail, but you know what? I'm going to survive.
Fail with my own money, though. That's the key.
Right.
So it was like, I've never taken a business loan, but with that said, I did not have any money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, it was just, I don't know what the fuck it was or whatever, but I'm just like, business is really fucking hard. It really is. But the weird thing about it is it's just like, it's not real. Like, it's really just like, it's tangible. It gets results, but it's just like, you can't go into it with like clear thinking, because it's just like the nature of the world always changes. You know what I mean? Right.
So it's ever changing. You always have to adjust to what your business could be like the next day.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I feel that. So what originally made you want to get into, were you art student first and then you got into tattooing?
I was like, I had done some art shows in Indianapolis, and I didn't like that when I do art shows, I would have to get everybody's work together, and the art students weren't giving me their shit.
Right.
Like, it was like, the show's in 2 days. Where's your painting? And it's like, I drank last night. Like, I'll bring it to you tomorrow. And then it's like, it was the opening day, and one of the artists with the biggest work that we needed to fill the space is like, I can't because I got a hangover. And I was just like, I had a sedan, and we had to both put it on top of the roof and hold it by the canvas and drive under 17 miles an hour because the wind would want to lift the canvas up.
Right.
And we had to drive 1.5 miles.
Really?
With all the shit. And then after the show, he doesn't ever pick up his work. So then I got to put it over at a relative's farm. And then for 5 years, it sat at the farm. And after 5 years, he called and was like, I want my painting. It's been 5 years. And I was like, dude, it has been here for 5 years. Like,
that's crazy.
He just got drunk and was like, where the fuck is my painting?
Horrible. And so I was like, I need to get into an art that I can do by myself.
Dude, if somebody leaves something in my apartment for 2 days, I'm like, come get your shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy, dude.
So I was just like, I like tattoos. I need to get into tattooing because this whole group show art shit, it's like, it's impossible. That's what it felt like, you know.
Right. I mean, you gotta, it's like, it's dealing with an out on their own art students. You're like on their time. It's not your time, it's fucking their time.
Yeah.
And then you gotta store their shit.
And then when you go into business for yourself, it's all big. You're your own boss. So
you're your own boss, but it's like
right.
The reality is that I think that business shows you a lot of like the light in the dark of this world, but now you have to manage it because, all right, so like, say the dark. I realized when I was in business for myself, I was like, okay, so in a way, we're all like timber, like we're all wood, you know? And it's like the reality is you either feed the beast the timber, like, and you generate like all that shit, or you're the one consumed trying to make it for someone else. So it was like when you're in business for yourself, now you're in business with the government, right? Because your only obligation is, you know, paying them your taxes. You're in business with your landlord, paying your landlord. You're in business with your supplier, paying your supplier. You're in business with your client, pleasing the client and stuff. But it's like, the reality is it's just like, I realized that it's like, okay, I can work for somebody and my whole job is to literally be doing the work so that they don't have to do the work, where it's like, all right, I'm creating all like the timber that you submit, but I fucking put the labor in it. And it was like, or it could be like, all right, I'm going to round up my money, round up shit from the clients, give it to them. But the thing is like, it's this cycle where it's like you either contribute for someone else's or you do it yourself. But it's like, it almost just like kind of feels helpless because you're one way or the other. And it's like, and the problem is you're in business and you're understanding business, where you're just like, oh shit, like if I can't pay this, if I can't whatever, I'm on the street, right? I just am. And that's the darkest place you can be, where you're just like, well, I'm close to the street, like whether you do your passion or not. And then if you do business, it's just like, it's like who you're doing business with, you can never forget you're doing business with them. And it's like, the thing about it is, it's like, if you do a good job in paying them, your life gets better. Yeah. So the more money you pay them, the more they give you, whether it's just like, you know, it's like, all right, I give the government a lot of money. So like, I got this fucking fancy car because fuck it. Like, I stayed ahead of them. I feel happy, whatever. And it's like, you can just keep going up. But the thing is it's just like, you really have to be somebody who can center yourself, because the higher you go, it's like at whose expense? Right. You know what I mean? Right. And it's just like, I got really good at working myself, where I was just like, all right, like 60 hours a week, 40 hours a week, fuck it. But the thing is like, everybody, my clients are like giving me enough now where like I don't have to like treat it like a grind, and like I'm booking enough where it's like, it's not, I'm not feeling heavy, but it's just like, once you're in business, you kind of know how the animal works. But it's like, for someone like me, I'm really into like my community and trying to like create access for like other people who want to get in tattooing and stuff. But the only way I can really do that is if I make more fucking money. Right. And it's like, if I make more money, it's like you're in business with them even more. Yeah. Right. I feel that. Because like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're the top in business right now with like the everything you get from being in business. But I kind of like this small level.
Yeah.
Where you kind of get to be like, fuck it. It's a mistake. Like, I'm in business, but don't ever think anything I do is serious. Because it's like, there's no scenario where I don't see myself shopping at Target or just like getting like dumb shit to save money on, like eating out.
Like not riding your fucking skateboard through like downtown. Like you're just, I can't see you not doing that.
Yeah.
And like when I walk into your shop, it's not serious. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's what I think people like.
It's not white walls and white ceilings and white floors and everything stainless. That's what a lot of people like. I think it feels more comforting. It feels like you're walking into like your home. Like this is your home. This is your place, and it's arts. It's artsy.
Right. Well, it's It's what you're doing is so. I started trying to explore different things when it came to like space, and when you don't have much money, you know, what's your comfort? And to me, comfort was home, in childhood. So my studio, what in a way I'm doing is I'm kind of projecting what I wanted my childhood to be, in the sense of like, here's what was there. Like, I got video cassettes of like Eddie Murphy, you know, like VHS tapes, whatever. I got like different type of just like, whether it's family members of mine on the wall or just like people who have just like made a mark with me. And it's like, my studio is kind of like the Black home from a certain period of the 90s.
Right.
But it's also, I like to think that you can kind of see a glimpse of my psyche in there. So it's like, but the thing is like, when you go with your childhood, when you go with whatever, people all of a sudden, they're like surrounded with understanding you at your core.
Right.
You know?
Like, this is who you are.
It's like, look, this is me at like my most like real, which is like what comforts me about my childhood and shit. And so, but it's like, because of that, you know, childhoods can be like messy. So it's like, I got shit over here. I got other things sitting over there. Right. They're all art related. They're all whatever. But it's like, that's not a tattoo shop. Yeah. That's just me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I try to just be like, well, fuck this thing tattooing. Like, because I don't actually know what the fuck tattooing is. Like, I do it. I make a living from it. But
you're obviously good at it too. So.
I don't know if tattooing is supposed to be sterile, white looking walls and like certain frames from things, or if it's something we don't fucking know yet. Yeah. Right. So with my studio, I like to go maybe we don't know this shit yet. Yeah. Let's reinterpret it in a different view.
It's definitely open to interpretation.
And I think that's how you should keep it anyway. You should keep it real. You should keep it how you want to do it.
If I walked in there one day, like for one, your shop, every time I point out your studio, it's just like, hey, that's my that's the tattoo artist I go to. And they're like, oh, that building? I'm like, no.
That's what he said. No, he's like, that building? And he's like, no, that little thing next to it. And I was like, the shed.
It looks like an old school Dairy Queen, like that thing, a little barn. Little barn. Like that thing. Yeah. And I'm like, no shit. I was like, but if I walked in your place and just like, it's just like white walls and it's like a glass countertop and
you had a like blonde girl in front.
Black leather, like a black leather couch. I'm just like, no, dude, if you walk in your studio now, it's just like, hey, grab like one of these seats.
I'm going to sit in this chair and you can sit in those chairs.
And the funny thing is like, all right, so when I was like, the studio is like my childhood, most of the chairs in there are literally like middle school chairs.
Oh, yeah. Right, exactly.
They're those colorful, like orange, yellow, and blue chairs that you sat in middle school. And I got them from Bloomington Resale. And they're like, they were labeled for like a school. Right. So it's like, it's like you come in and it's like, all right, let's grab this kid's chair.
It's like, is this a boutique? No, bro. Like, this is a tattoo studio. This is a tattoo and art studio. Like, that's what this is.
That
awesome.
studio is very flawed. And the reality is like, I like flaws. That's why like most of the stuff in there is like also just from going through to thrift shops because there's a giant crack on the floor, right? So, all right, let's play the business game of like what you're supposed to do. There's a crack in the wall. Well, I'm going to have business here. I should fix the crack, right? All right, well, then maybe I should fix the walls. Well, then maybe I should fix this. All right, well, now it's just a fucking money trap now, right?
Yeah.
And, all right, well, how about all right, that's got a crack. How can I make that crack look fucking cooler? And it's like, get a bread box from like the 1950s, put it over here, like put some bass that I got at the pawn shop on the like on the wall and like mounting up there and shit.
Yeah,
it's like just really dive into that dirty. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, all right, like fuck it. Like, I want to make this shit nasty, you know? And it's like, but it's so funny because it's like, people resonate with that so much more than anything I planned.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, like, I don't know anything. Like, I literally, like, I'm surprised every day at shit.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, we come on here, we're fucking dummies. Yeah. Like, don't listen to us. We're idiots. Don't listen to us, but people still listen to us.
Yeah.
So I mean, know.
But like what you're talking about, I feel that same way about like food sometimes too, because I'll be like, I don't want to go to some nice, just touristy place. I want to go to some dirty taco truck somewhere because I know that it's going to be the best food that I'm going to eat like in this place.
Yeah, we were in Nashville and we were looking for barbecue. We went to this one place and it was just in this really nice neighborhood. It was the worst. And I was like, let me go like 30 down on the fucking Google list of barbecue places. And I was like, there. It's like an old warehouse. Somebody's grandpa's like walking around like taking trays and stuff.
Oh, the hole in the walls are always the best.
And I was just like, this is the fucking shit right here. Like, that's what I want. Like,
that was like my favorite. Somebody gave the shop a review and they called it, they said, they called it like a dive bar.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, I love this shop. They were like, this shop's aesthetic is like dive bar. The furniture doesn't match. The walls, da-da-da. But in a way, it's just got this feel that you can't imitate.
Right.
No, you can't. It's got that homey vibe. That's what it is.
But it's also got the, motherfucker, I've been broke. And it's like, the reality is like, anybody talks to me about any of the shit, it's just like, it all leads back to being like, I was broke. I didn't have shit.
Yeah.
I didn't have shit.
This is from the thrift store. I got this from home.
I went to the thrift store every week. I would just like look for things that seemed like they like called to me in a weird way.
Right,
like I was just like, I was really, when I restarted the studio again, instead of going into the space with like my own thoughts, I was like, what the fuck is this space? And I tried to listen to the space to see what it wanted more. And the thing is like, all right, so the history of the space, it was, in the 1800s, it was a chicken coop.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
And it was like, and next door was like a farm, right? And, Soma Building was originally a frat house.
See, I can see that.
Yeah, one of IU's first frat houses. And then in the 1930s, it was a garage with a Model T Ford in it. And then in the 1970s...
See, I can see that too because of the big, nice doors.
Hence the barn vibe.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yep. And then 1970s, it was a bike shop. In the 80s, my landlady made it a boutique lingerie store. That lasted till Victoria's Secret blew up in the 90s. And then it was Bloomington Bicycle. It was the bicycle garage on Kirkwood. They started at the building I'm at. And then it was also this record store like TD's LP. It's like in Soma.
Right.
They started in the building. And the funny thing is almost like the objects in the studio are like slightly communicating with the past selves because I got musical instruments in there. It used to be a music venue as well.
No joke.
And so like before I got it 5 years ago. So it's like the musical instruments like I played in the orchestra when I was a kid, so you're surrounded by woodwind instruments, and like that's like childhood, and then it's got like a bass, it's got a cello, it's got like a little MIDI keyboard, all these type of music shit. But it's like, that's what the space used to be. It's had my bike in it before. And it's like, but it's like all these levels that the studio's been. It's like I kind of listened in a way, and I like brought the shit back.
Right.
And it's like, but I love the space because it's like right in the alley. And when I first got to Bloomington, I always thought that building looked menacing.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, it's like, here's this nice neighborhood in Bloomington. And then here's this off the beaten path, barn looking building.
Legit, dude. It's not.
There's this old chicken coop.
Yeah. So when you gonna put a chicken in there, man? Just have like a chicken.
I might make a little flash.
Yeah.
Like for the fallen ones.
Yeah, there you go, man.
But I really like that space. It's got problems with it, like. The bathroom's the smallest bathroom in Bloomington.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm serious. That could be like, like in Bloomington, they have like best businesses in Bloomington. The dudes would be like smallest bathrooms, like edition.
I don't even know how to describe it. Picture like the world's smallest closet. It's like I could fit in it. Like if there was no toilet in there, I could fit in it. Maybe two of me could fit in it. And that's it. That's it.
But yeah, it's just like if you shit, you probably have to shit with the door open.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing The Sims, and like that bathroom's designed where it's like The Sims would let you put that sink in, but as soon as you try to hover that toilet in, they'd be like,
yeah,
can't fit that there.
Right. You can't put it in there. It would just have the red square.
It would be like, that's a red square right there. You can't
put that there. It don't fit.
It's crazy that the door even closes.
You can brush your teeth while taking a shit on that toilet.
You can.
It's crazy how the door even shuts.
I know.
Like, to be honest with you, man.
It is.
The first time.
It is technically a bathroom, though.
The first time I went in there, though, I was just like, man, you got a bathroom? Like, yeah, it's right there. Oh, but I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yep.
But hey, man, it works. It flushes. The sink works. You got soap in there. Like,
my landlord told me when I first got the spot, he was like, I'm a standoffish landlord, so I'll let you do whatever you need with your business. But if something happens, it's on you. And I was just like, all right, but that bathroom, the plumbing's always work well. I saw this sketch on Instagram that was just like, it was like how you gotta go at certain objects with like how black folks, you gotta go at their objects a little different. And so it was like the sink, if you raise it all the way, it makes noise. So I yell at people, I'm like, halfway it makes noise. But it was like the skit was just like someone opening the car door and they're like, no, you gotta lift it up. It only comes out if you lift it up. And they're like explaining all the shit. And it's like people go up to the door and try to push through the right door. And I'm like, that one's locked. And then they try to pull the handle because I put bars on the door. I'm like, you gotta push that one out. Like, there's so much shit about the studio where it's just like, it's a little fucked up.
Yeah. But it's like you're fucked up though. Like that's what it is. It's like things like it's your space,
Yeah.
That's what makes it. I think that's what people gravitate towards, and when they actually go and they're booking an appointment with you or something like that, or getting a consultation. I think that's probably what a lot of people gravitate towards.
And I think that's what makes it memorable because I'll always remember that bathroom.
Yeah,
I will always.
That is obviously your work and your style, and that's what gravitated. That's what made me gravitate towards going to you, is your style and the type of work you do. And then obviously it's paid off because I mean you're definitely steadily growing.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot of people definitely dig your work.
But the funny thing about the work and the style is, like, I tattooed you, and now I'm doing it different because I'm working in another state. I'm working in North Carolina, and I gotta design people's tattoos remotely now, but That studio got popular with no one ever knowing what the tattoo was going to look like, and I didn't know what it was going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was this weird thing where it would be like, hey, let's do a tattoo, and I would tell you, like, all right, it's going to be weird, but you're not going to know what it's going to look like. We're going to figure it out day of.
Right.
And magic.
Yeah. And I hope you like it.
See, here's the thing though. That's literally probably the one of the biggest reasons why I loved it, because we just literally we sat down, we're just like, all right, let's go on Pinterest.
We created a mood board.
Right.
Where it's just like, all right, let's find shit we like and don't like, or and assemble it together. And then only the references we find are available to me when I design it. And yeah, I'd be making marks on your body to see the spot, kind of what I did that's different. And one of the things I do that's different is I made more of an emphasis on tailoring it to the body than focusing on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of convinced that if you tailor something simple correctly, that looks better than if you labor over something and then last minute you're like, all right, where the fuck does this go?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Which was honestly you did my cactus, and it was just, you started out with squares.
Yeah.
And then they turned into fucking circles.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fucking it. It's just a bunch of circles stacked on top of each other, but it's awesome. It looks great. And the way you do it that way, that's what made me, I'm just like, that's what the hype was to me. I was just like, this is fucking awesome. We drew it in-house. You're never going to find anything
like it. Feels more
it.
personal than just...
Instead of oh my gosh, I love this cross that says faith. Just can you just do this exactly, but have it right here? And it's just
I feel like that's what people like more, because if you go into other tattoo shops, they just they pick out of a book and they're like, I want that. But they're there's 50 million people that have that exact same thing. It's that. Or
they just print it off,
right,
and then on a stencil, and then they just stick it to you.
Yeah, but that feels more unique and personal because you took the time and actually just stenciled it out and did all that on your arm and all that stuff.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah. I like being as thorough as you can be. So, all right. So when the studio first opened, I was only doing freehand with ballpoint pens, but you can freehand with Sharpies, and it's easier. Ballpoint pens are not really meant to be tattooed with. I heard that there were tattooers that would use ballpoint pens in the 80s. When it was hard to get custom designs and make certain things. It was way harder to print. And so people would be like, yeah, they just get a whatever. And I thought the shit was crazy. And I was tattooing in Michigan. And I was just at a place in my career, I was like, fuck this shit. I hate it. I was like, I need to just try something. I need to try something that's going to get me fired. And, so I was like, I'm just going to draw on people, and I drew with a Sharpie, and this person was like, oh, this reminds me of getting tattooed in Detroit in the 90s. And I swear they got tattooed at Penitentiary Tattoo in Detroit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the spot. That's what it's called. And they're like, this reminds me of getting tattooed back in the day. And I was just like, hell yeah. I saw that people liked, it's kind of cool to have someone doodle on you and then get that permanently on you. But the thing is I realized that it's a flawed system, because since you're doing freehand, it can't be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first opened the studio, I was like, I'm doing freehand only. I'm telling everybody it can't be perfect. And this is the most human level tattoo. Well, by the time I got to tattooing you, Cody, I think it had been 2 years of doing business, and I evolved the system to, I would do the first stage of freehand, and then I would take a tracing of your arm with plastic wrap, and then I would take a picture of that and then design based on that. And because the paper is an illusion, I started trying to rethink everything about tattooing, and the reality is that your body does not understand that it's supposed to just hold tattoos like that. So your skin is compressed at certain spots where it's literally like less ink or just like the stencil will travel further because that skin stretches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you make a 2D model only on paper and transfer it, this part gets tucked higher than you thought, this part, whatever. And as a tattooer, typically you just blame the, oh, well, it just warps, that's tattoos, they whatever. And I had this idea where it was like, what if we designed it based on your bumps, based on your stretched skin, based on your whatever, and then we get that tracing from your skin. How much different does that look on paper than what we think? And the thing is it makes a slightly awkward drawing. Mm-hmm. Like it makes a drawing where you're like, it looks a little off, but the reality is it's missing your body.
Right.
Because once you put that stencil on, it compresses in certain spots.
Yeah.
It does all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I could do that, I think tattoos that I was doing, they looked different because they fit different.
Right. And they'll fit different on everybody.
Yeah. And I would have people with like really good collections. And it was really bizarre because I could put a tattoo with less stuff on it, less whatever, and it would somehow like sing louder than the other tattoo. But that's because the other person only thought about the design on paper.
Right.
And it's like, we tailored this at your appointment together for literally your spot. Because I realized when tattooing, you make a design, you print it off, and then if you place that stencil on 20 people in the same spot, some it would look better than others. And then you get the people who are like, oh, well, like tattoos wouldn't look good on me. The reason that is because you randomly, accidentally stumbled into this design works for this person. So the reality is when you're tattooing and you're not taking measurement of the body and everything, you're leaving that up to chance.
Right.
And so you're always confused why some of your tattoos photograph better, look better, all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a big believer that who's to say we figured this shit out? And who's to say these stencils are what we think they are? And I was like, I want to explore that shit. But it was like, that was literally the purpose of business then. Like, I think everybody knows my studio is like an experimental studio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is not your studio you go to get a tattoo, like whatever. It's like, this is if you're into weird pursuits to make like striking outcomes.
Right.
You know? So it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to do all that if I was working for somebody. But, yeah, I'm always like surprised I'm like still in business. Like people still let me tattoo and stuff because it's just like, people don't know like that. There was a period where I was doing sleeves for $500 a session, and it was all freehand. I had a client come in at noon. We drew the sleeve freehand with ballpoint pens for 7 hours. And then at 8 p.m. we got started, and we tattooed we got started at 10 p.m. and we tattooed till 7 in the morning when the sun came up. And like we saw the sun go up. Like we saw the sun go down and the sun go up. And both of us were like wrecked. But it was like $500.
Yeah. And
it's like it flowed hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
I didn't give a fuck. It was like, I knew I was sending people out. That first year, you could come to me, sign up for this weird experimental shit. And it was like, I'm going to give you a sleeve for like $500 a session. Try to get it at 3 sessions. I'll see you every 3 months. It was like big thigh pieces. I'd be like $350, whatever. And because I was in business for myself, I could charge low because I wasn't having to pay the house. And it was just like, it didn't make money. Like, it did, but it didn't. It took care of survival. So all the survival needs were being taken care of. But I was just like, all right, it's a better fate to take care of the survival needs and still experiment in the field than it is to like be busy and make cash.
And I feel like the thing of that is it was so new when you started doing it that everybody was just you got like the daredevils coming to you like let's do some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
But now I think that everybody has seen your work and what you have been doing and how good it actually looks compared to other tattoos. By far, the tattoo that you gave me, I get so many compliments on it still. They basically say, how does it look so dark and so vibrant at the same time? And it does. And it's such a simple method. It's such a simple design.
Yeah.
But what you're doing works. And I think people are gravitating more towards it. It's just like, why do I want some stencil cookie cutter, give me this design, when you can literally, somebody can literally tell you what they want and you do it to what you both enjoy, what you both are vibing towards, and it fits their body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it looks the best that it possibly could.
Yeah.
To be honest. And that's what I think people are gravitating toward. I think that's why you've gotten so much growth over the past, since I got mine. I feel like you've grown so much. Obviously, you're doing it in North Carolina too as well.
But I was tattooing 60 hours a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it was like this last year. So I realized that like, oh, the more I do this, the better I get. Like, so if I put 60 hours into this week, I'm 60 hours better.
Yeah.
So I was addicted to that because after the pandemic, I only existed in the tattoo shop. Like I would wake up, walk down, go to the shop, and then it would be like tattoo from 10 a.m. till midnight, stay up till 2, like watching dumb shit, go to sleep, wake up at like 10, 11, walk back in the shop, same shit. And I mean, I did that until like I broke down because I was in North Carolina and I was just like exhausted. And I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. And she's like, quit working 65 hours a week. And I was like, but I have to.
I gotta get better.
I was like, everybody's gonna hate my shit. Like one day, if I stop, people won't care. Whatever. I'm on this project right now because one of the people at the shop in North Carolina, they were like, let's be artsy fartsy and take time off just to make art and see what happens. And I went and took the time off, but it felt really scary because they were like, let's all take a month off. And I'm just thinking like a lot can happen in a month. Like that's asking a lot. And like, but I didn't want to be left behind. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of excited about it. And so, you know, but I thought to myself, I was like, so this is kind of like when you're in a band and you stop touring and you've only got 4 weeks to make the new album.
Right.
And you're like, I better be inspired. But it's like, there's a part of me that it's like, I wanted to just play video games.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I thought about getting a system just to play Cyberpunk on the PS4.
Right, dude.
Until it came out.
And then people were just like,
and
this
then I was
sucks.
like, oh, I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
But
everybody's like, this is shit.
I made garbage leading up into it. And then I feel like the third week is finally when like a series hit. And the series, I think, upset people. It made people excited. And I think it upset people at first because I decided what I want to do is I want to put civil rights leaders on wild animals with weapons.
Right.
Because that shit sounded like it felt very taboo. It was like, I think civil rights leaders are cool and shit like that, but I think it would be, I started giggling at this notion in my head about a bus driver telling Rosa not to get on the bus and she's on a tiger. I was like,
see what that's dope,
I was like, nobody's telling her where she can sit if she's on a tiger with mace in its mouth and all this shit.
Right, man.
And I thought, if I fuck that drawing up, that is horrible. Yeah. Like, I literally just made Rosa Parks on a tiger. Like, there's a lot of ways that could fail. And so I made the first. I really liked it. And I shared, got a cool reaction. And then I made some resistance cats. Like, I made another one. I made James Baldwin and Maya Angelou on horses. And James Baldwin's on a unicorn. And, like, I ended up making these cats. And, like, I was like, I should make people be able to tell that the series, how big these creatures are by showing other animals in the universe. But I should give them weapons that are like their size and make them the size they'd be next to the tiger and shit. And so, like, and all the horses. And then so I go and made 2 armored cats. One's got a grenade in its mouth and the other's got a dagger in its mouth. And I swear I got like 10 new followers from posting, and I lost like damn near like 20. But I was getting all these comments like, oh, I love this. But I was like, okay, I bet there's some people who are like, don't take my leaders and do whatever you want. And then I dropped the critters. Like, I dropped like 9 of these little war animals. And like, all of a sudden, I think people understood. It's like, no, this is like a universe.
Right.
And it's like, don't get offended yet. Just wait.
Right.
Like, it would be cool as fuck if every creature was fighting against racism. Like, with armor plates and like a squirrel with like, you know, like some type of weird object, like a rusty open can that's gonna like fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like, that's so much cooler than just being like whatever else.
But the fact that you take your ideas, it's just a thought. It's just like, nobody's gonna talk shit to Rosa Parks if she's on a fucking tiger.
Nobody.
Like, that's just the thing. You're taking that idea and just like, I'm gonna draw this shit and see what happens. See, that's the thing. That's like, and I think that's, and not everybody's gonna like that, and not everybody's, and some people are gonna like it, some people ain't. And that's like, when it comes to this and us recording and just talking, we accept that it's not for everybody. Like, you definitely don't want to give this podcast to your 13-year-old like son or something like that.
I mean, thanks for the download, but you don't.
Yeah, thanks for the download, but like, don't tell your parents you're listening to this. Yeah. But it's like, even the title alone. But it's just like doing what you want with the art that you want and just the ideas that you just make in your head. And people actually dig that. Like, you can't get any better than that. Honestly,
I do also feel okay with putting imagery out there in the world where it's civil rights leaders on wild animals, because it felt so, when I first had the thought, it felt so, I could get in trouble for this. But I loved that. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, like, let's look at the safe zones I could create right now, you know? And it's like, I want to make something that's like empowering. I want to put my personality into it. I want to do all this shit, but it's like, I've never seen Maya Angelou on a wild horse with a sword, or just like a pen in her hand. And I did a little tiny sparrow with a dagger in its mouth, like a little one. Because I thought it would be funny, like, the caged bird is free and has a knife and is coming for you.
Right, dude.
And it was just like, I'd like to see how far the series goes, because it's just kind of like, like another one I laughed at was I made a little snail and it's got a little thumbtack, like it's going to stab you. Like it's got a little tiny like tinfoil on the armor of the shell.
That's awesome.
And then it's just like holding the thumbtack ready to charge.
That's awesome.
And I was just like laughing because it's like, how? Like, how is this thing going to like get you? But I just love the idea where you're just like running away from a snail with thumbtack.
Right. That's
like,
awesome, man.
Fuck.
Right.
If I wasn't a racist, that snail wouldn't be trying to stab me.
Right.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And see, like, I think it's cool how the shit that you draw is just hanging up in your studio, and people walk in and like, oh, what's that? You're like, oh yeah, that was just a series I did, especially with the element.
Oh yeah, the elements. Yep.
Yeah,
that's how I started last year.
So many people have gotten those tattoos.
I forgot. Yeah, the elements is how I started last year, because I did the 4 elements at the start of last year, and I was like, these are going to set the tone for next year. Like, I worked really hard to make them like good and push myself, and then they were the bar for the whole year for me. And yeah, now it's the start of a new year, and it's like I'm lifting the bar.
Right.
Like, I'm planning on hopefully making another critter sheet today, and then I'm going to get onto other people's designs. But it's like, I'm happy now because I'm like, all right, I had a month to find myself and come up with some original art that I'm just like, this is me. But I was so scared that I was just going to be like, I would take a month off, and my coworker thinks that I'm special and smart and going to come up with something like artsy.
Right.
And I was just thinking like, I got nothing.
Right.
I was just thinking like if you look at a lot of my work, you'll see a peony and it's literally just a peony. It's like, it's a flower. It's a flower. And so I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, funny thing is before I did this project, I've always been afraid of drawing wild animals.
Right.
Because I was just like, why the fuck do tattooers have to draw everything? I was like, I don't want to know the anatomy for a fucking wild animal and a horse and a this. And it was like, it's too much. You know what I mean?
Right, man.
And now I'm just like looking for the stranger, the better animals.
Right,
right.
I don't know. I did this lion in Toni Morrison today, and the lion has bows, like a bow in its hair, and like a little hair clip, and like a little like heart, and like some little like stardust in its mane. And it's like it's got like leather straps on its arm and shit. But it's like, I'm like, wow, I'm really decorating a lion's mane, while this person has a big spike shield that's like they're riding this thing with, and a book. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so weird. It's so weird. And I'm like, I'm going to the printer to pick this shit up, like pick prints up. And the people at the store I'm picking up, depending on who I get, I think they think that I'm like troubled. Because it's like, there's this one girl in there, and she said she's from North, like a suburb of Bedford. And she said, I tell you what, to a client. She was like, oh, it's just the suburb of Bedford, I tell you what. And I was like, wow. Like, and she made my prints once, and she was like, please stay well. And
Jesus Christ.
I was surprised they didn't give you like a shelter card or something. There is
no suburb of Bedford. It is not big at all. So she does not know what she's talking about.
There's no
suburb.
There is no like suburbia. No. It's like one fucking road.
It's like
30 houses.
It's fucking Chicago. It's like, oh, we just live right across the river. No, it's just a suburb. Big housing community. No, there's no suburb of Bedford.
They have a Golden Corral.
We have a fucking Golden Corral.
I just imagine Bedford to be like the opposite of Boys in the Hood, where it's like
white Boys in the Hood is exactly what it is.
Because like in Boys in the Hood, there's the scene where there's the one kid who's like, y'all want to see a dead body? All their friends, and they just walk up on the train tracks and see a dead body because. Like, I swear parents do not watch their kids in Bedford. And, like, these little kids are just finding shit that they should not see.
Yeah.
And they're just like, another day in Bedford. It's like, all right. Like, I feel like Bedford people don't know what they left until they come to Bloomington.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you get to examine it when you're here. And then you're just like, I remember...
It either scares the shit out of you and you go back. It's like when Amish leave the fucking, like, Rumspringa and they, like...
You either get scared and go back, or you fucking are partying and you just stay.
Like, most of them, like, come back, though. But it's like, you're out in the real world and you're seeing a bunch of other shit and all these different diversities and cultures. And, just trying all this different type of food and hanging out with all these different individual people and around them. And then you're just like... I'm just going to tuck my tail and run, or am I going to stay? I don't know. Right. And like, it's probably 50-50, to be honest with you.
And I mean, like, I know, because I've never tried sushi, and I just recently had it, and I love it. But there's people in Bedford just like, I'm never going to try that shit. It was like, I ain't eating that shit.
Ryan just went to a TJ Maxx last week, and he's in love.
Yeah, I'm in love.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I know a lot about Southern Indiana at this tenure of mine. Like, only, like, in this region.
Right.
You know, but, yeah, I've been here for, like, 10 years.
So where are you actually from?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with this area, but I know a lot of people that are from even Indianapolis are just like, they don't know anything south. Like, they know Kentucky is down there, but they don't know, like, the rest of Indiana. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's really weird.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like there's parts of Bloomington that I like, that I've adopted into, like, who I am. And then there's other parts that I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I can recognize that it's just like, we're still in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like when you're in a small town, it's like sometimes the only thing there is to do is like, you know, like analyze your neighbor or your surroundings.
Yeah.
And whatever. But it's like, it's just like Bloomington has always been its own place.
Yeah.
Good and bad. But the thing I don't like about Bloomington is that this place is too damn expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So
yeah, Bloomington has the highest, like, housing costs out of any city in the state.
Yeah.
And it's just centered around Indiana University, and basically, and like nothing changes.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a lot of even like Bedford and a lot of other small towns in Indiana. It's like it's a small town, but it's close to a highway, so we're just gonna put a bunch of shit here,
right,
and hope people gravitate towards it. And that's basically like what it is. Like, city limits are not this big. Like, the city of Bloomington or wherever, if it's got a college in it, it's like 20 miles, or like 10 miles, 10 miles city limit, like the fucking like diameter of it. But then like the actual town itself is like 30. So it's crazy. It's crazy how, like, when you live in town and you're like, 50 years ago, this was like a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But you're like right down the road from a fucking Kroger. Like there's a Kroger like half a mile from your house.
And you can see it too, like when you get off to like the east-south side, whenever you get past everything, then it starts turning back into a farming community, fields and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
I feel like so much of, like what I do in Bloomington, because so much of this town, people want it to be a college town. Mm-hmm. And the realities of what that does to a place is there's a lot of people who want to believe that the only way you can succeed in this town is through going to college at IU. And it's like I think a lot of people view the only way you can succeed is by leaving the town with a degree. And it's like, I think that ends up creating this like class system in Bloomington where it's like your worth is viewed by your level of education. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so I totally like being an opposite of this town where it's like,
right.
All right, like, because I tattoo a lot of college kids and stuff. And it's like, I love for them to think that I'm an idiot and then realize that even though they're like, you're a dummy, be like, this dummy's paying their bills somehow, though. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like showing, and it's like, I went to IU, but I like showing like college kids in this town where it's like, everything that they tell you is a lie. None of us knows anything.
Right.
And look at me. I'm literally like figure skating in a circle, not knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
And I'm surviving.
Right. And you graduated from IU, right?
I like owe them like $1,500 and they're giving me my degree. It's like I owe them money and then they stop holding my degree hostage. So I'm like, yeah, I graduated, even though it's like I'm on a payment plan with them right now.
Right. Hey, but you're like a little guardian angel to all the little kids.
But no, I love just coming across as like dumb and ignorant in this town because it's like I'm 30, I live here, and it's like people don't expect much from me, like when they see me, and I love being able to just like show people here that it's like, you don't know. Like just what someone shows you is not everything.
Right.
So it's like, even though you might see me around town and it's like, I got a beard, I'm in my 30s, like I'm black, and it's like, I have weird hours. Like you might catch me at Target at like 1 p.m. when all like the moms are there and like they're wondering, what am I doing? But it's like, even though you might not expect much from me, it's like, if you talk to me and you saw what I'm up to, it might be different than what you think. And so, yeah, but yeah, we got the little shop here. Feel like got the little turf going and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's been nice. I mean, but I didn't really talk about tattooing that much. I mean, we did, but
right. I mean, well, this doesn't have to be
we had you on to talk about you, is what it is.
This doesn't have to be the last time you come on either. So,
yeah.
I mean, we just wanted to. The main reason why we have guests on is just to get people's like perception of like their life. Like tell a little bit about yourself. Get some motherfucking culture in this.
Right. They hear us
in this fucking podcast.
They hear us enough.
They hear us enough. Yeah. We like to have other people on, hear other perspectives, and I know other people want to hear that too.
Oh yeah.
And definitely, you're definitely the first tattoo artist we've had on here, and it's definitely a breath of fresh air. It's a new perspective into how other people make their way in life.
And it's very interesting to hear people's stories because I personally love stories.
Right.
And, who did we have on here? We had Cody Eichert, who's a touring musician. And I asked him stories on the road, things that happened to you. So I like hearing stories from people from their past, how they got here, things that they did. It's just very interesting.
Yeah. And like Cody Eichert, he started out in a metal band.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, one day he was looking for a band. He's like, I think I'm going to start a country band. Like, it's just, like, he goes from metal to country. And it's interesting how people, and obviously it's interesting how you start out in art and you're just like, you know, I like tattoos. I think I'm going to tattoo. And just how you developed your own method and designing your tattoos. Mm-hmm. And it's starting to gravitate towards people. And people were like, you know what? I don't want this cookie cutter bullshit. Like, give me some fucking something that's unique. Yeah. Some kind of unique art. It's not tattooing. Tattooing to me is like, give me you. Right. Like, give me a piece of you, and I have that now. It's like, give me a piece of what you're about, and people can take that away. Mm-hmm. People can take that with them.
I'm always like just thinking about how, like, the nice thing about tattooing is if, like, I ever just had, like, some tragedy happen, I'm like, I bet some of my clients would show up. They'd be like, damn, just look at their arm and be like, I remember when he did that.
Yeah.
That was Terin or whatever.
We're like, up for fucking 12 hours.
I got this part of me that just, like, wants to just be able to, like, go in a way where it's like people are like happy about, like, remembering and shit. Mm-hmm. And so I gotta get my health together. So it's like, because I'm predisposed to diabetes, I'm eating terribly, I'm like I'm just like giving myself all the whatever. And like I saw MF with Doom died at 49. So I'm like, all right, well, whenever I go, I just want people there, but I'm also like, all right, maybe I gotta figure out other stuff to get into. Like, getting older is so weird. Like, you have to consider. I told someone the other day, I was like, the difference between being in your 20s and your 30s is that when you're in your 20s, you're broke, but you have good health, and in your 30s, you're sustaining, but your health starts shifting.
Right.
And you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Right. It's weird because you're focusing on your body, and your body's still like young, so you handle shit way different. Uh-huh. And then once you hit 30, it's just like, my body's not handling this.
Well, that's what it is. It's like 20 to 30, you're just like, all right, we're doing my shit. I'm going to build a career, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do all this stuff. Right. And then once you hit 30, you're just like, you're stable, and you're just like, man, I am getting fucking old.
I'm getting old, and I'm getting fat.
Yeah.
I'm figuring out the cheat codes, though. Like, my girlfriend was like, yeah, it's like, here, you can have some coffee. I've been getting coffee sent here. And, but when I was younger, I didn't even need coffee. I could just pull an all-nighter.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's like yesterday, I was up for a long time drawing, but the piece was kicking my ass. Like, I came up with the sketch. I made my lines. I've been hanging around my friend that makes comic books, and I've been watching how he'll pencil lines and then he'll literally just ink on top of, like, sketch. And so I like that. So I've been introducing that to, like, when I'm working digitally. And I had the lines done, and I was like, this is going to be easy. But whenever I'm making them, I'm having a file open of the previous one I did to make sure that it's in the same family, like, skill-wise. And that line main, it was like I gave it all these streaks that it took over in your eyes just looking at the main first. Then I simplified it. Then it was too simple. Then I tried to chop it up, and then it looked robotic. And then I, like, erased everything. And then I kept adding shading to the face, taking it back, all this stuff. And then by the end of the night, I finished, it was like 2 a.m, and I finished the one figure. And I was like, all right, I can go to sleep. And then I was just like, I'm wired, finish the other. And then it's 5:30 in the morning. And I texted to my girlfriend, and she, like, only had one critique for it the next day. And it was, like, valid. Because sometimes I'll make a design and I won't notice that the head's a little too small for this. Like, somebody points that out and you're like, okay, let me adjust that. But yeah, she made, like, her one comment, and But it's like, oh my God, it was just like, it was kicking my ass so hard. And it's like, I knew I want to get that one done, and then I want to get one more sheet done. So it's like, today's the last day where I can fuck around and be like shitty with my time. But it's just like, it's like, even no matter how long you do it, the shit still gets hard.
Yeah, man. So I know you've been on this artsy fartsy break. How much more time you got left of that? Or are you done?
I think 6 days.
6 days.
6 days before it's back. Let me think. Or is it? Yeah, 6 days.
So when this comes out, this podcast will be released on Tuesday. So you'll have a couple more days left of freedom.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I've been staying in this project longer than I thought because I feel like, you know how like Goku's in like the training, right? And he's just like getting stronger, even though all his friends are like getting their ass kicked. It's like 5 more minutes. It's like, I'll start working on y'all shit, but I'm getting better, y'all. Just let me train for 5 more minutes before I come try to save this shit.
Because not only, you got to take time for you, but you also got to get back to the grind because you got clients and stuff like that waiting. And I don't know how you balance it, but to me, I feel like it'd be very hard sometimes to balance that out.
Well, I ended up taking this month off, and I opened my books 2 weeks before I took the time off. And so I got my books out further, but like I stacked my calendar because like I'm still afraid of not booking. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll just prep in advance. I have not prepped in advance for anything yet. You know what I mean? Like, nah.
You got 6 days, son.
Not one thing. And I'm just like here working in the little bubble. Like, I'm like, oh, but I'm working on my project. I got this. So I feel like this year is going to be the year where like I balance drawing other people's stuff, but on my time, I'm going to be like working on this series still.
Right.
And I don't know. I'd love to complete the universe like of this illustration. Like after I do the critters again, I want to do Miles Davis and John Coltrane sheet where it's like Coltrane's got the sax and Miles has the trumpet and like they're on some animals. I haven't figured out which yet, but it's like I love the idea of the chrome of both of those instruments and they were friends. And it's like, like I got this idea for like MLK and Malcolm X where it's like they're going to be on like if each sheet is 11 inches tall and the figures are about 10 inches tall, like the tigers and shit, I'm going to make this war elephant for like Malcolm X and it's going to be on 18 by like 24.
Hell yeah.
And like Malcolm's still going to be the size of the other figures.
Right.
But the elephant is going to be like
fucking huge.
20 inches tall.
It's going to be huge and elaborate.
And it's going to have like cannons and shit. But
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I'm talking with my girlfriend and she's like, how about the Martin Luther King no weapons? Just like flowers and shit.
Right.
And so I'm like working on this thing where like I think she was like, what about like a platform? And he's just got a microphone. But like I want
like a giant tortoise.
I want to do where it's just like this big, huge thing where you're just like, wow, I feel like I see how big these animals are. Like I see how whatever, but I feel like I could fuck with this series for the next 2 years and be happy.
Right,
it'll be good.
And you just got Buddha
or the Dalai Lama on a
and
tortoise.
You just got your own little series just like hanging in your studio. People are gonna be like, oh, people are definitely gonna want them.
Right.
I mean, people already want a lot of your shit that's hanging on the walls anyway, because it's unique. That's literally the word that I could say, and that's. When I describe like the process of me getting my tattoo at your shop, and they're just like I've never heard that before. I was like, I know, it's the dopest thing ever. I was like, we went and got like dinner at a food truck afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was like, it's unlike any experience I ever had before.
Yeah, I've been happy with everybody I've gotten to tattoo overall these last like 3 years. I feel like I tattoo people who want to come and get tattooed by me, and then people who are just like open enough to be like, I'm going to try to do this thing. I don't even know what to expect.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, 2021, it's a new year. We all get to start grinding a little different, figure out what this world's going to be now.
Right. We will definitely see what is in store for all of us in the world out there in 2021. And I know definitely I'm in store for another tattoo, and I know I sent you some ideas about it. It's just, and it's what is defining to me is I've never been more excited to get tattoos because I know the process. And
yeah.
So I know you say you changed it. Are you still doing the same thing now?
I got a method now that is working in the sense of like it figured this one thing out, because I had to start working remotely for North Carolina, designing stuff. But I can't talk about it. Like, I never tell anybody the current method out loud.
Right.
Because I kind of save it to myself. Like, I've never told anybody the method before. But the method I got now, it kind of is one of these things where it's the same that I was doing, but I figured out this one little way of doing it.
This little tweak.
Mm-hmm. But if I show it to you, if you've gotten it the other way, you're going to be like, oh, I see what you did.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, but I'm not talking that process yet.
No, you're cool. That's cool, man.
Once I figure out the next one, I'll share that one.
Well, I'm excited for it then. It's going to be awesome. And how much time you got left? You good?
Oh, I probably got a dip soon.
Okay. What are we at?
Almost 1:30.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and close it out. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. We really do. It's been a good time. You can check Terin out. Terin is, I know you fluctuate between Bloomington and Durham, North Carolina. So you can check Terin out on I Am Indiana on Instagram. And then,
I'm from Indiana.
Oh, sorry. I'm from Indiana. My bad. I fucked that up. So I'm from Indiana on Instagram. Please go check out his work. It's fucking awesome. If you were around Durham, North Carolina at Critter Swamp Tattoo, or if you're in Bloomington, it's Cryberry's Electric Tattooing. You can't get any better than this, everybody. This is a completely different experience. If you want to be a daredevil with your body, and if you want a good-looking tattoo, definitely go to Terin. Do you got anything to promote? Do you want to say anything to anybody?
Just be on the lookout for this series. And I'm printing off posters, or I'm printing out prints when I'm working on this. So if you contact me, you can get one shipped to you if you want. It's like, $30 for like a sheet. But and then I typically throw in like a little freebie in with it. But yeah, just like check me out on Instagram, and you can see me and my dog in my artwork.
Oh yeah, man. So thank you so much again, man. Go check him out on Instagram. And as always, everybody, thank you for tuning in today. Ryan, close us out.
Will do. Appreciate you guys so much. Go ahead and give us a rate and review. 5 stars, please. That's all we accept on whatever platform you listen to. But we love you guys. Of course, we couldn't do this show without you. Remember, always wash your hands and wash your motherfucking ass because you stinky. Let's go. All
right, everybody, go and get some of that Blackcurrant milkshake IPA from Brewdog Brewing. That is in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. Go and get some today. Go check out all their beers. And remember, drink a good beer, read a good book, get a fucking kick-ass tattoo, stay hard, milk that motherfucker.
Stay hard?
Yeah. What?
All right.
Milk that motherfucking pig, everybody.
Peace.
We out.